5:30. Let's call this meeting to order. We are now in session at 5:30. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And with that, we will convene to close session.
Okay.
6:09, and we are back in session. I would like to read our mission statement. The mission of Cotati Roanoke Park School District is to achieve excellence by nurturing a love of learning, a district where students are welcome, valued, engaged, and excited about learning. Students graduate with excellence in critical thinking, a love of learning, and are prepared to move successfully in the world and life. Every staff member working as a team helps to create a community of continuous learning, equity, and opportunity for all. The vision of our district is to be a welcoming community that inspires possibilities, connects people, ignites learning, inspires, connect, and ignite. And I'd like to thank everyone in the district who plays their part in educating our students. From the beginning to the end and everyone in between, everyone has a role in educating our students. So thank you. And with that, I would like to move to, may I have a motion to approve item 4A, case 2425-02-SD?
I move that we approve 4B, right?
B,
Yeah.
yes, thank you. And a second,
I'll second that.
roll call?
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing,
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Aye. Okay, may I have a motion to approve item 4C, case number 2425-03-SD?
I'll move.
And a second,
I'll second.
roll call?
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing,
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Aye. All right, and next is our flag salute. May I have the students of Han and TPA students come forward?
Please rise and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Three, two, one, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
I'm short, so I'll be in the front with them. Come on over. So the tall one's in the back, short one's by me. Here's the little ones over here, too. Come over here, sweetheart, over here. Come over this way. Yep, come over here. There we go. I'll move this out of the way. Sorry. Okay, here we go. There goes my mic. Good job. Have a good night. Good job, kids. Bye.
Okay, next up is a presentation with Thomas Page Academy, Principal Anna Castillo. Would you please come forward?
Okay. So my name is Anna Castillo. I'm the principal at Thomas Page Academy.
And I'm Jen Calvin, I'm the assistant principal.
So we are a TK-8 school we have a co-taught TK and kindergarten. We have 433 students. Of those students, 316 are free and reduced lunch. 61 qualify homeless and foster youth, and 145 of those students qualify for EL funding. So this year we had some big goals, and that consisted of kind of revamping our PBIS systems, creating a new mission and vision, and kind of rebuilding our community. For our mission and vision, it was really important to us that we collaborated with our teachers and made sure that we brought them in and we heard their voices, and they are part of the process of creating that mission statement and vision statement. We are excited to announce that we officially have adopted a new mission and vision, and we will be sharing that very soon. But I'm gonna have Jen go into the details.
So for both of these processes, for our new Tiger Pride initiative, for our PBIS restart, that will start in the 25-26 school year, and our new mission and vision, we collaborated with staff and students in order to make these things come to life. For our mission and vision, we held a values circle with the entire staff, bringing together those community circle practices that have been part of our district initiatives, and really getting at the heart of what we want a TPA student to look like through TK-8 when they come join us at transitional kindergarten and then leave us at 8th grade. And that work also supported our Tiger Pride initiative of what values and what behaviors and expectations do we want to see from not only staff but our students. And that all led to our new Tiger Pride initiative for the next school year.
Originally, we had two different pillars, I guess you could say, between elementary and middle school. So we're pretty excited now that the same pillars are from elementary.
Unifying us.
Yeah, all the way through 8th grade. Another exciting part of this is that we had help from Kristen and Amelia, but we did a circle to ask students their opinions of our pillars of positive, respectful, inclusive, dependable, and engaged. And they all agreed that they were positive representations of who we are at TPA, and they dove into the work of what it looks like to represent these around campus.
All right, so we also have a STEAM club on our campus, and this year our STEAM club chose a theme like they do every year for the last 9 years. Their theme was ecological justice, and it's an after-school program that's open to 3rd grade through 8th grade students that happens 2 days a week from October to March. Everyone is allowed to join. It's been running for 9 years. And the students really work hard to collaborate and work together at the various different age levels and that represent this group. So we have older students working with younger students to actively collaborate and work together on projects. 3 teachers mentor the work that the students do at this after-school club. And this year, 38 of our students in grades 3 through 7 represented us at the STEAM showcase at the county level. And Thomas Page was one of the 40 schools that participated in the STEAM showcase this year.
And then a quick shout out to Alana for helping us get our students there with some ELOP funding. So that was pretty awesome. All right, so we're gonna go into just some special events that are coming up. Our 6th graders are working on a project to raise money for Sudan, which I'm sure some of you have received emails from them. They are doing an amazing job, and their original goal was to raise $1,000, and they quickly surpassed that. So now we are going for $3,000. They have a bake sale tomorrow from 4 to 6 at Oliver's. They're gonna weather the rain and the wind. So if you can make it there to support them, we would greatly appreciate that. They're pretty excited. On the 2nd, we have our STEAM and Literacy Night, which is gonna be led by our teachers who run our STEAM club. So Jeff Johnson, Jennifer Zaks, and Jessica Pengel. They are in the process of tying up some loose ends for that, so more information to come. And then on the 3rd, we have our middle school AVID elective, and they are going to be touring Sonoma State University and getting them excited about attending college and reaching their fullest potential and see what they have to offer.
Okay, some challenges that we are facing or have faced this year. One of those is facility limitations. We struggle with space on the campus, and that's adequate space for PE and for lunch to exist at the same time. Our outdoor tables are not possible. We have a Serious B issue that has interrupted many lunches and snacks. So that's one challenge that we currently face.
And then we're currently going to be, as you are aware, losing our mental health support, and that's going to be a challenge for us. A lot of our students really utilize our current mental health supports. So finding a full-time counseling need is a priority for us. If our students aren't feeling safe inside, they're going to have a hard time learning. So that's something that I personally am going to be prioritizing for next year. And funding needs for Tier 2 resources. We fund our assistant principal with Title I monies, and I know it's a big ask and hard, but the money that we could be using for that would be really helpful for our Title II, our Tier 2 resources. And then a part-time interventionist. We have a part-time interventionist now, but we are looking for a full-time interventionist. Next year, we're going to be focusing, as you may know, with the district is focusing on literacy. So we're going to be having our interventionists really focus on closing that gap and working with our students of all ages, because right now they're working with our elementary students, and we're seeing some significant gaps in our 6th grade and just middle school in general. So if we can fund a full-time interventionist, that would be awesome.
So looking ahead into next year of addressing some of these challenges and steaming forward into next school year, for facilities, we are reworking our master schedule to make it more balanced and more appropriate for the space that we have. So reworking how we organize our student groupings for snack and for lunch. And then
we received the Healthy Schools grant, so $74,000 was awarded to TPA, which is pretty amazing. So we're looking at increasing that mental health services for next year. We're looking at possibilities of working with CPI to continue to work with CPI. They have offered a model in which we can have a full-time mental health support 5 days a week, 8 to 3. They can do crisis management, non-crisis management, so drop-ins, and then also small groups. So we're going to be looking at the possibilities of working with them. If not, then we'll be looking at a part-time mental health specialist. And then a goal for next year is I would love to extend our AVID elective through our elementary grades. So becoming a AVID magnet, I think, would be amazing for TPA, considering we are TK through 8, and those are some Wicker strategies would be moving from one grade to the next, and it would be consistent throughout the grade levels, and just offer a lot of support with our Tier 2 interventions.
And additionally, to support the new work with our PBIS initiatives, we are bringing back Safe School Ambassadors, and we are working with Community Matters to do a soft launch and soft start of Safe School Ambassadors this school year, so that we can do a full start at the beginning of the 25-26 school year. And we are changing the name, and we're calling ourselves the Tiger Pride Ambassadors, to connect that work to the PBIS work that we're doing as a school site. All right,
Is that
and
our last one?
that is
TPA.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
I was able to come to the school earlier this year, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. The elementary schools that are just elementary have like Tiny Wednesday or Early Release Wednesday. Do your 6th, 7th, do your middle school students follow the same schedule as the elementary, or are they on 2 different bell schedules?
They're all on the same schedule. So Wednesdays, everybody is out early.
Okay.
And then our TKK is out at 2 o'clock Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays.
Okay.
But everybody's out at 11:35.
And then, just really high level, so you guys have busing for the students, like like, not like the other elementary schools too, it's more than just the IEP students, it's actual, how does that work? Like, who gets to bus, how do they get bused?
Anyone who signs up for busing is eligible to be, to,
Do they have to
Utilize.
live, like, so if I live
Or,
over
yeah.
in K section, can my student be bused to Thomas Page, or do they have to kind of
oh,
live
that's
in
a
the
great, I don't
Thomas?
have the bus routes.
So it has to
by
be,
heart,
we
but-
double check the routes based
Yeah.
on their address
Okay.
and where the bus routes are located. And we work with West County to find out if where the closest bus stop is, where their house,
Yeah.
if it's feasible, where the drop-off locations are. So there's a lot of communication that we do between, Thomas Page and West County in order to find those like safe routes so that we are providing the transportation adequately.
If
But
there's
it's based
enough-
on their
on their needs. So
on
if there's
their
enough
needs and
students, they
address.
will create another bus stop
Another
for
stop.
them. We do have some families who will drive their students to a drop-off location and they will take the bus from there.
That's cool. And then how does that work? I know when I was there, we were talking about like how it works with the after-school club.
Yep.
So if the students take the bus, then they kind of,
Yeah.
have you been able to figure out like a solution?
As you
So the
were
challenge
asking
is,
that,
like, if
I
the
should have added that
kids
to
wanna do an
challenges.
after-school club and they take the bus, they
Yeah.
can't because their ride just left,
That
so.
would be a challenge.
Yeah,
That's
so
still a
that's one of
challenge.
the it's still one of the challenges. I've been working and talking to Jamal about how we can help our students still attend our after-school activities, but that is a huge concern that we have. We have a lot of tutoring that'll take place after school as well, not just our after-school activities, and those students who take busing are missing out on those. So that is, I should have added that to our challenges. That is something that we're definitely gonna be looking to prioritize as well next year.
Because do you think, and I'm making a huge like leap here, but so the students that are taking the buses after school, do you think a high percentage of them are going home to an empty house?
Yes, I do.
And so like the thought, if they could stay on campus where they're getting support or tutoring or being involved in
Yeah.
activity, then that's probably
It would be great.
for the social emotional better than being in an empty house.
Yes,
till someone comes home,
absolutely.
so.
Yep.
Those are my only questions. Thank you.
Good ones. Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah.
All right,
I
thank
was
you.
curious about the yellow jacket problem.
Yes.
I know that's
Oh,
been
yes.
going on for a while. Is there any positive outlook with that?
I will tell you when it stops raining. And it's sunny. I mean, we're trying. Once we get a hold of one nest, another one pops up. So I think it's also has to do with our location. But as of right now, we're still fighting the good fight.
Yeah, we've attempted several different things from traps to trying to like mitigate the plant where the nest is,
Yeah,
to a variety of
removing, yeah.
different things, and trying to like figure out what time of day is least bee heavy.
Yeah.
And trying to do that. So those are the things that we've attempted, but yes, we're still an issue.
The problem with yellow jackets is mostly their nests are in the ground,
Yeah.
and you're kind of a rural area, and it might not
Yeah.
be, they might not be coming from your property.
Exactly.
So I don't know what the agreement would be if Josh is here to try to mitigate
Yeah.
yellow jackets. I mean, they're pesty.
Yeah. And there's a significant amount of space,
Yeah.
lunch tables that we're missing out on. So
And then they'll, if there's any meat and sandwiches and stuff, that just
Exactly.
draws them
exactly.
immediately type of thing. And then if you disturb their nests, they get angry and too, so.
Which is
Football goes
another
over.
concern.
Another
It's-
concern. Yeah.
And they're I know one of the other elementary schools was having this problem last year too, and Josh said they're really limited in what they can do because it's a public school property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we may do at home or at a private business, they can't do at a school site, so. Which is for the safety and health of our students, and we want to keep them healthy.
Yeah, I would keep up the traps, because I mean,
Yeah.
they will,
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it, but I'm well aware of it. I mean,
water.
yeah.
Vegetables only for lunch, that's it.
Exactly, right?
Going
No
vegan.
pizza?
Well, thank you for your presentation.
Of
and
course, thank
for
you guys,
all do.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, Marguerite Hahn, Principal Millie Blackstone.
school. Okay, good evening. Good evening, President Eric Martin, trustees, Superintendent Iturri, and distinguished members of the board and cabinet. I'm Melly Blackstone, the new principal of Hahn Elementary School, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight to show you about our school, Marguerite Hahn. As a new principal, now my 4th month, I've spent time listening, observing, and learning what makes Hahn special. If there's one thing I've realized is that connections matter. We have, we're at TK through 5th grade. We have about 484 students. We have a very cohesive staff and strong culture and climate. We have a thriving PTA. There's our PTA president. Highly effective and collaborative PLCs. And Hahn is an amazing place to be. So just to go over our missions, our mission number 1 is connecting students to academic success. Our daily Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 supports ensure that all students not only learn, but feel connected to their teachers and their learning journey. Our second mission, our school is a professional learning community where teachers work together to ensure that all students are at grade level. And I know this is a district that everyone does PLCs, and I just want to say that it's so neat to see it in action at Hahn Elementary School. Every Wednesday at 11:35, I do my rounds, and I see teachers genuinely working together, discussing data, going over common assessments, and regrouping and figuring out their next steps. Our third mission is connecting growth to achievement. Our ultimate goal is continuous growth academically, socially, and emotionally. Each year, we want our students to move forward, not just meeting grade level standards, but also building confidence, independence, and a love for learning. While test scores are important, we all know that students are more than just their numbers, and we need to teach to their hearts. We need to reach to their hearts in order to teach to their brains. So one of our challenges in doing this is that our recent Youth Truth data shows that in third grade, 8% of our students don't like coming to school. In 4th grade, 6% don't like coming to school. And in 5th grade, 17% don't like coming to school. And so, and in our California state dashboard, 10.7% are chronically absent. This is last year's data. So what are we doing to increase attendance so that we can see student achievement? We are doing this through making connections with our students. So if we think of an analogy of dominoes, the first domino would be relationships. Students need relationships first to want to come to school. They need to feel engaged. They need to feel connected to what they're learning, and they need to feel connected and know why it's important. If you have relationships and engagement, you're more likely to increase the attendance. Once you have attendance and relationship and engagements with the students, you're more likely to have students that want to follow the expectations. If all these dominoes in place, the last one is performance. So when students feel like they belong, they show up and participate, they will succeed. As a new principal of Hahn, I have my own goals. I plan to strengthen the school and family connections. I hope to increase community involvement, ensure that students feel a strong sense of belonging, and I am so lucky to have landed at Hahn because we have such a thriving PTA. They play a very huge role in connecting our students to the community, to the school, to connecting parents, to doing things for other people. Like in our Hahn Day event, they raise money to bring gifts to many, many families, to bring Christmas tree and ornaments. They have craft fairs. They have fun nights that are free to everybody, where anybody from the school community can come. And one of the funnest things that they have, with this picture of all the kids smiling in the right corner, is they had a fun assembly when the 5th graders were off at outdoor camp. They had an assembly where all the children and even the teachers just loved it. Proposition 28 is also a great part of our student engagement. And I just want to thank California voters out there for voting for Proposition 8. For theater, for performing arts, we have SpongeBob SquarePants that we're gonna, the play is in May. We also have Art with Miss Angela, and through art, the students study different artists and practice those techniques. And we have Music with Teacher Goshert. And for music, they have, for TK and Kinder, they do fun and engagement sing-alongs. For first and second grade, there's movement and music-making activities. In third grade, the students are learning to play the recorder. And in fourth and fifth grade, the students are taking ukulele lessons. That's really fun. We also have student leadership. And this is another way that students can become involved in our school. Fourth and fifth graders can join leadership, and they meet Wednesday mornings. And we're going to hear from some of them.
One thing I like about student leadership is how it makes me feel connected to the school is by helping making leadership days, and also helping people by donating clothes, shoes, and toys in general. The canned food drive is also a great way we help people, and that's what I like about student leadership.
Okay.
My favorite part of being in student leadership is just being a part of the community at our school and just planning all of the spirit days. I like being in leadership because it helps me make a positive change for the school.
So when students are given opportunities to lead and contribute, they feel a greater connection to their school. Another thing that we are doing is PBIS. And I was trained in my district in Davis, but I was fully trained this year with Laura Moyman, and I found that to be one of the most rewarding trainings. And without a lot of support with disciplines, without having a vice principal or full-time counselor, I find myself fully embracing PBIS. I've given it all my faith, and we're doing community circles, we're doing a lot of positive reinforcements, we're doing restorative chats and circles, and about 2 months ago, we had a lot of conflict in a certain grade level, and we had 19 people attend a restorative circle. And it was after school, and we included the parents and the students and the teachers, and several people from the district office came in and helped facilitate it with me. It was a great experience. And also, our student leaders are helping us solve a problem of practice. When I first came to Hahn, I was so shocked by the morning drop-off. They're angry parents because they're in a hurry to get to work, and there was a line of cars and people parked in the red zone and children crossing. It was dangerous. It was a huge mess. So after talking to the previous principal of Monte Vista, we started the Panther Safety Patrol. Got that idea through Hertz, through AAA.
Panther Safety Patrol. You will see us guiding traffic and welcoming you every day.
And they were trained, we trained 21 students to do this. They learned about traffic safety. They learned how to greet students. And that is a great indirect effect of this program, is every single morning a car that stops and a child that comes out gets greeted and waved to and helped out, and they say, "Happy Tuesday, have a great day." And then when they leave, they say, "Have a great evening, do your homework." So it's just a nice way for kids to connect to the children as they come and go, and a great way to get people off on their day. Okay, so looking forward to the year 2025, we are so excited to welcome 2 SDC classes, an additional TK, and a kindergarten class, and a VP, Christy Vitalone. She will be 50% VP and 50% program specialist. Thank you, Cotati Roanoke Park School District, for being such a kind and supportive district. Have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
I just think that the drop-off situation that you solved is genius.
I didn't, it wasn't my idea, I got it from Monte Vista. And it is so much fun. It's so much fun to see the kids be bossy. And one of the, I think she's a 4th grader, created a ticket that says, "Please don't park in the yellow zone." And she created it, and she had me print them out, and they're putting them on cars that park in a zone where you're just supposed to drop off. And parents don't seem to get mad at children, so it's nice. And I kind of think also that it gets the parents off to a good day because they see the children waving at them, and it's just a nice
Stop
little.
on my way to work and just have someone say, "Have a good day."
Just to get cheered up.
It's definitely a good way to start.
Yeah. Any other
Anything else?
questions?
Great. Well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Welcome.
Thank you for the presentation.
All right, thank you.
And with that, we'll move to student board member report. Haley Tran from Rancho Cotati.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Haley Tran, and I'm Rancho Cotati School Board Representative. Starting off with student culture. Today, we had our executive board elections for next year's ASB class. So the running unopposed for president, we have Dina Azevedo, and for school board representative, we have Olivia Fountain. The contest for secretary includes America Valencia and Monica Almanza. The contest for treasurer includes Abigail Zapeta and Stephen Flores. The contest for vice president includes Sophia Anguiano and Miles Johnson. Good luck to all, and the results will be announced on Thursday. CSF Club had 2 fundraisers, the Valentine's Day Grams and the Chipotle fundraiser. The Chipotle Dine and Donate was a huge success, raising them $155.28. Rancho Cotati's Christian Club also made Bible verses and then on them they had candy with free Valentine's Day, little note cards. They also had a prayer box for everyone to write down their prayer requests as well. Thursday, February 27th, ASB Spirit and Rally Commissioners held their Spirit activity. This activity included 5 mysterious boxes with holes cut out into them. In each box, there was an item the student had to reach in and guess what the item was. We had some very surprising reactions, from screaming to them automatically guessing what it was. In each box, there were Orbeez, shredded paper, pasta, slime with fake maggots, and a toy turtle that moved with its fins. We had a great amount of people show up, and everyone had an amazing time. And at the end, everyone got candy for participating. Unity Week was a huge success. ASB put together performances and presentations based off of different cultures. In total, we had 43 performances/presentations in 3 days. We had 12 returning performances and 31 new performances. Our Unity Week assembly was also amazing. We couldn't have done it without our amazing performances. Starting our assembly, we had the fashion show featuring our very own students. Then we had our folklorico dancers instructed by one of our English teachers, Miss Dasso. After, we had Rancho Cotati's students perform the traditional Filipino dance. And near the end of the show, we had our fabulous dance club perform 2 dances, a Latin and a K-pop performance. And to end off our assembly, the Sonoma County Vietnamese Association performed the traditional Chinese lion dance. This year, we had our annual Unity Week fashion show during the assembly. The Unity Week fashion show showcased the beauty of the different cultures on our campus through traditional clothing. We had a great turnout of students participate, and it was truly beautiful to see the diversity on our campus. There were some safety concerns at the University Square involving some individuals from outside of Rohnert Park. So Rancho's admin will be implementing new patrols in collaboration with the Rohnert Park Public Safety. Students will be expected to follow the measures that will be placed during school times. So there's no loitering. Students are not permitted to loiter or hang out at the University Square during school hours and during the 40-minute lunch period. There's limited access during lunch, so students may purchase food and visit businesses at the Unity Square, but they must return back to campus. And there's enforcement, so Rohnert Park Public Safety may issue citations to students that are loitering at the University Square during school hours. And these safety protocols are here to protect and keep our students safe. AAPI Club held their Meet Me at the Altar fundraiser on February 13th and 14th. Members of the Rancho community were able to marry their bae or bestie. The $5 package included a marriage certificate, quick ceremony, rings to exchange, and a photo in front of the arch. Altogether, they were able to raise $361. Both boys and girls soccer made it to the first round of playoffs. Both teams had an amazing season overall. Congratulations to the girls wrestling team for bringing home an MBL pendant. These amazing student athletes showed off that their work pays off. Now on to recognitions and appreciations. Congratulations to our staff spotlight, Mr. Warford, we appreciate everything that you do for the Rancho community. Congratulations to our talented students, Mina Nguyen and James Brickley. Congratulations to our student athletes, Aubrey Giamona, and Mason Waters, and Nina Boblet. And the month of February was dedicated to our cafeteria workers. We appreciate everything you do for the students, so I bought little plants and I handed them out to show that they are really appreciated. Some upcoming events. Rancho is bringing High School Musical to the stage this spring, so performances are at the end of March, the 27th through the 29th. We are excited to launch a junior and senior attendance raffle at Rancho Cotati High School, giving juniors and seniors a chance to win free prom tickets. Students with 100% attendance during the following weeks will be entered into a raffle. So it's March 10th through the 14th, March 24th through the 28th, and March 31st to April 4th. Each week of perfect attendance earns them an entry so they can win up to 3 chances. 4 lucky winners, 4 lucky seniors will receive a free prom ticket as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. And next up, Sam O'Halloran for Technology High School.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Sam O'Halloran, and I'm the student board representative for Tech High, and we're going to be going over February at Technology High School. So to begin it off with sports, like I said before last month, spring season is the busiest season for Tech High sports. We have golf, swim, volleyball for boys, track and field, softball, tennis, and baseball, all of which are varsity, and some have JV teams as well. Specifically, we would like to talk about track. Track has been doing really well this year. We want to focus on 2 students, Josie Hill, who set 2 meet records at the Big Cat Invitational 2 weeks ago. She is currently ranked 1st in California and 15th in the nation for the 400-meter run. Aaron Durango, who is a junior, he set a school record for the 1,600-meter run at the Big Cat Invitational as well, and we're very optimistic for their season, and the team just keeps growing. It's huge. It has over 60 people now. We also like to send some love towards the boys volleyball team, who were very busy this past week. They had 8 games in the past 7 days, and so we're supporting them as we can, and we're looking forward to their season, their 2nd season ever at Tech High. As for some updates with the English department and LCAP, like I said before, we had our English 9, 10, and 12 teacher unfortunately change positions, and he's being replaced currently today by Mr. Hamilton, who's the first day on the job today. I haven't been able to meet him, but I'll get to know him in the next month. And Mr. Myers, who replaced our old AP Lang teacher. A lot of students feel confident with Mr. Myers. He's an extremely passionate teacher with a lot of experience in multiple high schools. And I'm very hopeful for a good AP Lang teacher for the rest of the school year. The transition was stressful, but we've settled down now, and students overall feel very confident in this teacher for AP Lang. Additionally, we had a district representative come to Tech High and meet with multiple students and faculty members. We evaluated the CRP USD goals. I was in attendance as well, and we had a very productive conversation. As you can see, we only got through 2 of the 4 CRP USD goals over the course of an hour. And so with that, we had a lot of big pieces of feedback, ideas, and information brought up, and so we're very optimistic for the future. As for what else is happening at Tech High, like I said before, we have the ASB cabinet election season happening right now. These positions include president, vice president, public relations officer, secretary, treasurer, and spirit commissioner. All of these positions are up for the 2025 to 2026 term, and we have over 10 students running, or we have 10 students running for these 6 positions. Today is actually the last day of the campaign season. Tomorrow is when students will vote. So it was over the course of 4.5 weeks. And we had a ton of different activities and events for the candidates to participate in, to get their message out, and to represent themselves. Today during lunch, we had candidate booths. So candidates would go out onto the quad during lunch and have booths giving out goodies and interacting with the student body. This is always a really big deal for the candidate campaign season. And so the different stands varied from fruit stands to fondue stands and home-baked goods. So there was a ton of different options, and it was a really popular event today. Additionally, with every election or campaign season comes an election spirit week. I don't have any photos, unfortunately, but here are what the days were. Uncle Sam's crazy hair and flare day, show up to school with a crazy hairdo and some fun makeup. On Tuesday, dress like a star, so dress like your favorite movie star or a TV show star or like a fan base. On Wednesday, anything but a backpack day. That's always at Tech High the most popular day. I brought a laundry hamper that day. On Thursday, it was 90s glam versus grunge day, and that's pretty straightforward. That was a fun day as well. And on Friday, to end it off, we had Unity Day, which was similar to what Rancho Cotati had with a cultural awareness day for students got to show up in clothing to represent their culture. That was really popular, and that was the first time it was back in 2 years, and we're very excited to have that once more. Additionally, on the Friday of the election week, we had a rally. As you can see here, we actually had, we were very fortunate to host Congressman Mike Thompson from Congressional District 4. He spoke to the students about the importance of civic engagement and advocating for what you believe and what your opinions are. Congressman Thompson complimented Tech High for the emphasis that we put on ASB elections. With the campaign season, candidates do a lot. They have school-wide speeches. They have campaign posters, election conventions, interviews, essays, and campaign videos, all of which we're very proud that they can handle as they move forward towards holding these really important roles for our school. Now, we also have our prom announcement. This was announced 2 weeks ago. This year's 2025 prom will be at the Villa Chanticleer in Healdsburg, and it'll be a Gatsby Gala. And what's really fun about this venue in specific is that it has an open bar with soft drinks and mocktails, and a lot of students are excited about that. I think more than actually dancing and interacting with people, but it'll be a really great prom, and we're looking forward to that on April 5th. Additionally, we're having some fundraisers for ASB and our L&L Society. Next Friday, ASB will have a CalSkate fundraiser, and this is like we had in the first semester. Students show up for a few hours, they show the flyer, and Tech High gets to just rollerblade and roller skate with their friends and raise a little bit of money for the school. Additionally, the L&L Society is actually right now having a Swirl Time fundraiser right now. Titan Times is having their 3rd edition released this Friday. They've been working really hard throughout the entire quarter, and these are always really good, really information-packed, and I'm looking forward to it. Once those come out on Friday, I'll bring them for next month's meeting so that you guys can take a look at it. And finally, this past month, we had another ASB Town Hall and the Roanoke Park Chamber of Commerce crab feed. Students were able to serve tables, practice their practical skills and social skills with various people in the city, and overall, the crab feed raised over $1,600 for Tech in 3 hours, which is like awesome. And the town hall, for the ASB town halls, that's a way that we've been kind of trying to interact with students in a new way. It hasn't been very successful, but we tried a new thing this month. We had a game day where students not only get to interact and talk to their reps, but they get to play card games, board games, and just sometimes even like video games on their Chromebooks. And this seemed to actually be a little bit more successful than usual, and so we're looking forward to innovating new ways that we can have students participate and interact with their reps. That concludes February at Tech High. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. There's definitely a lot going on both of those campuses. That's awesome. Next up is trustee reports on activities. Trustee Johnson.
Okay, last Saturday, SCO was holding a board camp about budgets. I don't know Michelle will know the title of it. I don't have it.
Boot camp.
Boot camp, thank you, yes, thanks, folks. And I learned a lot. John Gray is from the state, the finance department, I believe?
No, School Services of California.
School Services of California, and he gave a great presentation. It was really good to hear, learn more about finances and what's going on with the state and the feds.
Great, thank you. Trustee Brown?
Pass.
Okay, Trustee Nelson?
Just the meeting last week.
Okay, Trustee Wing?
So I've been doing a lot in 1 week. So I, with a couple other trustees, I think, have been really fortunate to be able to participate in Thomas Page's Sheila Pace, the sixth grade class, is doing Water for Sudan. So I got to interact with 2 students and read their letters, and it's always so wonderful to hear. I've done this a couple years now, and it's really interesting. They all read the same book, and they all take something different out of it, and it's really cool to see also how they, take something from the other part of the world and actually relate it to their lives. So that's been really beneficial. So thank you, Shayla, for always including us in that. Saturday, I went to the SCO Budget and Boot Camp Workshop. The first part was SCO was just explaining what services they offer to school districts, and they really went a lot into the different administrator and teacher programs that they have and clearing the credentials. But then John from School Services talked about the budget, and not like, this is the budget, and this is how budgets are made. It was more what the state of California is right now. Is really, really informative. I actually they emailed us the presentations this afternoon, so I can forward it to you if you want to see it, John. And I can forward it to Rochelle, so you can forward it to everyone else. But there was a couple really interesting points that really opened up my eyes to what is happening. Taking politics aside, he talked about the kind of governor that Newsom was versus Brown, and that Newsom is extremely transactional. And when his first budget comes out in January, historically, it drastically changes from May. So, and when Brown was governor, when he came out in January, it didn't drastically change. So CBOs and school districts are having to deal with this uncertainty, and that Newsom his budgets are more volatile. So what happens in January is 99% of the time not what's going to be happening in May. So it's challenging for CBOs and school districts because we have to make our budget before we know what's going to happen. And we have a governor that's extremely volatile in what they do with their funding. So that was a really interesting way to look at it. Whether you like it or not, he said we have to root for the rich. So the top 1% income earners in California pay half of the state income tax. So the more successful they are, the more money the state of California makes. Another volatile situation is that the top 1%, most people get a paycheck twice a month or every 15 days or once a month, but they get a regular paycheck on a regular cycle. The top 1% don't get paid like that. They will do a large stock sell, they'll sell their company, they'll do large things where they may make $3 million in this year and make nothing next year because they can continue to live off that $3 million income. So they're paying taxes this year, and then next year they won't pay taxes. So that also adds to the volatility of the income of the state, and I never really thought about that. And then UCLA, this was just like eye-opening. They measure fiscal uncertainty, and they've been doing it for like the last, 50 years. And in years where there is a change in administration, it peaks up and then goes down. And we're at an extremely all-time high of fiscal uncertainty in our government right now that they've never seen before. And so again, that just adds to this crazy volatility. And John, I'm sorry to say, but School Services thinks that COLA is going to be 2.15% is his official. Yep, their official DART says 2.15%. So then today, CSBA does California Legislation Week, so I signed up. So today I met with Senator Connolly. It was fantastic. Only 3 of us showed up for the meeting, so we actually got some one-on-one time. There were supposed to be 18 people in this meeting, so this was great. So it was myself, a board member from SCO, and then a board member from Rincon Valley, so it was awesome. Tomorrow I meet with Mike McGuire and Chris Calbadon. So the 3 things that I specifically talked to Senator Connolly today, the cool thing about him, he is a former school board trustee, so he gets it, he understands what we're going for. They wanted us to specifically pick CSBA's talking points. They send you by the way, if you don't know what to say, this is what you should say, and you get to pick yours. Some of them don't really apply to us, but the ones that we really did was, I don't know if you guys know this, but Prop 98, and John, I don't want to steal all your thunder here, but for the second year in a row, the governor's I'm threatening, for lack of a better word, to not fully fund Prop 98. He tried doing it last year. CSBA sued him. They said you have to do it. He's trying it again at a pretty high rate. I think it's $1.6 billion is what he wants to withhold from Prop 98. So that's how we get most of our money. So that's a huge problem. So we talked to him about that. And then also that Prop 98 should be the floor of school funding, not the ceiling of school funding. So that Prop 98 was never meant to be the cap. It was supposed to be school districts get at least this. And at some point, it really flipped, and it has turned into a ceiling. So that's just all we have to give school districts. So talking to him about that. We begged him and pleaded with him to fund COLA at 2.43%, which is what the governor said in January that he would do. I would love to see it go up, but at least do 2.43%. And then the third thing that we focused on today is the student support block grant, that it needs to stay as discretional funding that we can put in the general fund, and please don't make us put it into categorical fund somewhere, because that, we need that flexibility. And a huge shout out to John, who texted me slides that I needed with a 2-minute notice. I'm like, oh my God, he's asking me this, and I know you had it, so thank you, John, for being so responsive. Because I was able to show him that in the 40 districts in Sonoma County, we are one of the largest districts, but we are the 4th least funded, which directly results in funding for paying for raises, paying for programs, and paying for different things like that. So that was really eye-opening up to him. But it was a really great thing. And
What was the response to that?
for which one?
The funding that's inequitable throughout the 40 school districts,
So
which is
he-
driven by basic aid and like, the other big one is
ADA?
Well, ADA, but it's,
Yeah, so he
Your-
did a lot of listening.
Right.
So he agreed that Prop 98 needs to be fully funded. He agreed that the COLA needs to be 2.43%. And then the rest of it, he kind of just said, yes, it's a problem, but not and this is what I'm going to do
they're
about
not
it.
willing to address it. Very
He was
discouraging.
surprised at the difference between our ADA and our enrollment, that basically we're funding an entire school. So I made it very clear, we have 500 students that we're paying, an entire school that we're paying for. We only had 30 minutes with him, so if you guys think I'm talking fast now, I was really talking fast then. And he did spend his last kind of 5 minutes. His big ticket agenda item this year I didn't bring the right paper. He is one of the ones that's co-authoring a bill, I forget what it is, what the actual number is, but it is for protecting our immigrant and our families that are here potentially illegally or undocumented. And so that is his big push right now. So that's what he wanted to tell us about. And then putting some places in protection in California for our LGBTQI plus population. So we talked to him, probably 20 minutes of the call was about school finance, and he agrees schools aren't funded enough. And then probably the last 5-10 minutes was his bill that he is presenting. And I forget the number, I'll let you guys know what it is. But they kind of are listening and saying, okay, yeah, I agree. And CSBA's big push right now is the Prop 98 funding COLA. And then there's a couple other bills that we don't have to get into tonight. Like zero emission school bus purchases. Okay, I know we use buses, but we're at the leisure or, whatever people. The 60-day substitute teachers, we didn't really talk about that. And then SCO is actually starting an employee housing project. So he was asking a little bit about that. A really interesting thing that SCO was saying about their employee housing project is their initial plan, they've had to drastically scale back because their employees actually make too much money to qualify for low-income housing. So while they cannot afford a house in Sonoma County, they don't actually meet the criteria for low-income housing. So they do not. The original builder that they were working with backed out because they said, we can't actually do this project. You don't have enough low-income people to actually qualify for this. And so SCO's like, but we have as we all know, it's really expensive to live here. But so they spent some time talking about that, about the housing, and because that's one of the bills that's coming up too that CSB wants. So he did suggest so one of the things I would like, after I meet with all of these, we can talk at the next board meeting, but he did ask for me to specifically write him about what are the issues that CRPUSD is facing. So maybe a study session or a meeting, we can take just 5 minutes to write something out. He offered, he's a politician, right? So he said, hey, keep in touch and let me know, but he said, keep in touch, so guess what? I'm gonna keep in touch, so, because some of these things that I know are important to the state don't really impact us directly, so. So keep tuned to see what my buddies Mike and Chris say after tomorrow, and we'll go
They
from there.
didn't bring up school choice
No,
vouchers?
nope, because that's not on any of their legislation, that's not on any of the
I
current
know, but
legislation.
there's another legislature that corresponds to my second home in Auburn, that
Yeah.
Republican pushing vouchers and school choice.
Oh, and he did say, someone asked, and they said this at the SCO thing too, that with so much uncertainty in the federal government, you just have to make next year's budget assuming that you're gonna get the funds that we get today, that nothing's gonna go away. And he, Senator Connolly did say that one of the things they are talking about is if federal funding goes away, how does California make the districts whole? So their goal is so that we wouldn't actually lose any money. It may come from different sources. And then I may have said, well, if you can figure out where that's coming from, why can't I just have that money too? But
Because they're
That's a
gonna
good
have
question.
to Rob Peter to pay Paul, because they don't have that fund.
right, but I'm like, well, if you can find those funds, if we don't lose money, can I still have those funds if we, or if we do, can't I have it if we don't? And he did chuckle, and I was like, no, I'm kind of serious. Anyway, we'll see.
So I remember a board meeting or two ago where you had mentioned a political action committee.
We're gonna do it.
Okay,
This is step one.
we're holding you to
Yeah.
that. Yes, the list of items for that committee is growing. But thank you for doing that. So I also had the privilege of corresponding with a student with Shayla Pace's class and was impressed with the level of involvement with the student. She was very committed to what she read in the book and committed to raising money, and it was inspiring to just see her passion and how well she articulated everything. And I am looking forward to the bake sale tomorrow. I've actually been counting the calories right now and what I might want to get. And I also had the distinct pleasure to join the Jenny Albers cook-off last week. It was amazing. There's a neat set of young chefs out there who are going to take on the world. All the plates were phenomenal, and the first place winner, hers, just rose above. But it was impressive to see such youngsters engaged and doing well with the art of cooking. So thank you, Jenny Alber, for making that happen. And with that, we'll move to Superintendent Ituri for her report.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I too was fortunate to get a letter about water for Sudan. So they got to everybody. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. We also held a student senate, and we have representation from our secondary schools. And we thought we were going to get through a couple of policies. We ended up getting through one. We went through dress code, and they shared with us their experiences with dress codes on different school sites. And the message they sent is it's not consistent, and they'd like to see some consistency. So we're talking about that. We wanted to go through cell phone policy and see how that was working. We didn't make it through that, but they came up with a list of things they want to talk about. They want to talk about lunch procedures and facilities. So those are a couple of things that are top of mind for them. I was fortunate, and I realized that we've only had a week between this last meeting and this meeting. We had some site visits. I was able to make it to some sites. We had a PBIS meeting today, which is awesome. Looking forward to a couple of things. We're taking our budget, we're calling it the Budget Roadshow, and we're going to school sites to talk about where we are in our budget. We also have an IBB bargaining session happening next week, or when we return from spring break. Spring break is next week. Sharing of the Green, which is the Education Foundation fundraiser, is April 5th. Tickets are still available. And we also had I also have coming up a safety planning meeting with SSU, Cotati, Roanoke Park and CRP USD to just make sure that we're all collaborating together. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Roanoke Park Katati Educator Association, REPSIA, Lisa Bauman. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I was writing down everything that I've done since the last time I was here, and it's a lot of meetings. Michelle, I'm glad you took really good notes on Saturday, because I would not have been able to pull any of that out of thin air. But I also was at the boot camp, and it's good to go to those things, and just especially given what our political climate is. So I was happy to be there, and happy to see Shirley and Michelle there too. We have been working, we've had 2 IBB sessions since the last time I was here, and we've spent a lot of time in those sessions. We had a guest speaker come to us and talk about a fair share formula, so we've really been kind of tinkering around a lot with that, and just thinking about what that would look like, and if it could work for us. And we've been doing a lot of just really good conversations and problem solving in IBB, I feel, in this last month. And myself and Jennifer Canales and Heather Ramey and Jessica Romero and Jen, we've been working on revising contract language for all of the multitudinous secondary schedules that we have in the district. So we've been on this cycle of having to do an MOU every year for the last 3 or 4 years. So there will be one more MOU for everybody, but we'll also be voting on putting in language into the contract where the menus are all there, and the system for deciding, so that we don't have to keep doing this formal process every year, because it gets pretty tedious. It takes a long time, and so the more we can just put things in the CBA and be done with it, the better, if we have a system that works. And I think that we all have tried out our schedules long enough now that we're happy with them, but we also want to make sure that we provide for, change too. We've been in a couple meet and confers. We also had a SPED roundtable follow-up, so just a meeting with the ed specialists and SLPs to kind of touch base about the SPED MOU from last year and what was working and what's not working. And Rachel and I have decided we still need to kind of sit down with each other to kind of figure out like what this might look like for next year. There are definitely some really, good things that came out of it, but I would say there's still a feeling of being overwhelmed in special ed with the number of students and the amount of services that our ed specialists are giving to our kids. Let's see. So I know what I was going to tell you. Last weekend, I meant to send Rochelle pictures so I could show them to you, but I had about 10 students from the environmental club here on a Saturday, and they set up 8 ginormous raised beds for our garden. They moved 8 cubic yards of soil and put together the frames, their metal raised beds. I think it was probably the first time some of them had ever used a screwdriver, let alone like pushed a wheelbarrow. It was pretty funny. But it looks beautiful, and so the next thing that we've got to put in the beds is the drip irrigation, and then we'll hook it up to water and we'll be ready to rock and roll. That's really exciting. I also took a group of students that they've been part of a program through Ag and Open Space called Farms. And so every month we go on a different field trip. I've probably mentioned this, and it all has to do with environmental related careers in the county. And so we went out oh my gosh, in the middle of nowhere off St. Helena Road. It's called Rancho Mark West, and it's land that Ag and Open Space purchased, and then basically they put restrictions on it so that it can't be developed. And so then other people come and buy it, but knowing that they can't develop it. So this, it's a huge property, and that the people who manage it and own it, so to speak, have decided to, keep it forested. And it was the fire, I don't know which one, but the fire came right up. We were walking amongst little toothpicks, and you could see all the scarring from the fires. And so what our students did that day, you're gonna laugh, is, so because of the fires, like a bunch of the oak trees, burnt down, but they stayed alive. And so now they're sprouting all these branches, but they're not really, some of them are very bushy, and they're not, growing in a way that's very sustainable. So we actually trimmed oak trees for several hours on a hill in the heat. And, but they loved it. They had a great time. And I'm really excited about that program. We've made a lot of good connections that I think we'll be able to capitalize on in the CTE pathway, which will get going next fall. And today I went to the PBIS training with my site, and actually the 3 teachers were there. They were all science department teachers, and Heather was there, and it was really good. We got to practice some things, and we really got to talk about how we could really leverage using PBIS and restorative conversations at Rancho. And so we kind of set up a plan for kind of launching it or relaunching it, because a lot of people, I guess, have done it in the past, but just making it more part of the conversation that we're having. And I've been on a couple of site visits. I've been to TPA and I've been to Hahn. I met with the preschool speech teachers also, and then tomorrow I'm going to Evergreen. So making the rounds again, and hopefully I'll be able to get through everybody twice before the end of the year. That's my goal. We'll see if it happens. Everybody's really looking forward to spring break. Things have been pretty quiet, which is nice. I think between everyone went on outdoor ed right after the last time I saw you. And so there was, everyone I think is kind of still recovering from that and looking forward to a break. And there were definitely lots of adventures. There was not, I don't think, a single dull moment on outdoor ed for any of the schools that went. I think every site had something happen between kids getting sick or the power going out and all kinds of stuff. And so, but I think everybody had a pretty good time overall. And I think that's all I have.
Great. Thank
Any
you for your report.
questions?
Very
Okay,
very
thank
thorough.
you. Have a good night.
Okay, there's no report for the next 3 items, so we'll move to consent agenda. Item 8A, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 11th and March 4th of this year?
I move.
And a second?
Won't we do 8A through K?
Oh, thank you. So let's, any questions on items 8A through K? Okay, then may I have a motion to approve items 8A through K?
I move.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next up will be 11A, approval of transportation plan. John Bartolome.
So the district's pupil transportation plan is designed to provide safe and consistent transportation services for our families, specifically emphasizing our students attending Thomas Page, as we mentioned earlier, and our special needs students. The district does not operate its own bus service. Transportation is provided through a contracted service provider, which is West County Transportation. One thing I wanted to point out in the plan that's different is also related to what you were asking earlier, Trustee Wing, which is ELO programs are to we provide ELO programs to unduplicated students in grades TK to 6. If a school site is not able to offer 30 30 additional days, transportation will be offered to families so that they may attend an ELO program at a site that is operating. The district offers a free bus pass for the Sonoma County Transit buses or Smart Train Pass. And in rare cases, the district will pay for Uber rides for the student to attend an available ELO program. So that was an addition that Elena put into the plan, and I thought it pointed out because you brought it up.
So we don't pay for the buses, we only do through 6th grade, not 7th and 8th grade at DPA?
No,
Okay,
transportation, home to school transportation's for the whole school.
Okay.
But
the ELO is
the
just
ELO
through 6th.
program is DK
Okay.
to 6, yeah.
Great. Any questions? Then may I have a motion to approve item 11A, approval of transportation plan,
I'll make a motion to approve 11A.
in a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up, 12A, fiscal update and planning.
The only item under that is the enrollment. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer that. Otherwise,
Okay, no questions?
One question. One of the, as I look through this and been around for a while, one of the key things at the end of the year is if seniors, 12th grade, if we have 518 graduate and go away, that we pick up 500 students, kindergarten to offset that. So if you look at this, we have significant, from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, all in the 500s. And then if you look at some of the other years, 6th, 7th, 8th, or you go back 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, we're 451, 441, 422, and 450. That's a significant number of different students.
kids start to come back to our
Pardon me?
district. Kids start to come back to our district in the high school years after, if they leave the district, I mean, there's a trend that the 8th graders for this year that are in our district don't necessarily translate to what our 9th grade classes
Okay.
are. And it's because.
As long as
we're-
that trend
Exactly, yeah.
does that, we're good.
Yeah.
I've been around when that trend hasn't
Sure.
happened, so we just have to watch that.
We have kids coming back.
Because yeah, okay, John said it is, so I'm holding him accountable.
That's the history of the district.
I know,
for sure.
okay. We've also had times where we had a lot more students and that didn't happen,
Mhm.
but the current trends, I hope, continue. So, thank you.
Okay, so item 12B, second interim report as of January 30th.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm here to present the second interim report. This is the second of two interim reports for the board. Ed Code requires the board to certify the district's ability to meet its financial obligations. The enclosed projections are created with the most current information available. They're not forecasts, and multi-year projections will change anytime the underlying factors change. A lot of these slides are repeat slides that you've seen before, but I always like to put in where we are in the state budget process. These are the planning factors that we're using. For next year already, we're hearing, as I said before, a COLA that's less than 2.43%. PERS employer rates are increasing slightly, but not as much as we've heard in the past. And as you look down the page, I think there's some more vital information, like projected enrollment. You know, we're looking to go up a few, you know, another 100 students-ish for next year, and maybe not so many the year after that, but it's hard to predict that, I'm sorry, you know, those are educated guesses, if anything. Again, we're still conservatively projecting the ADA percentage. If you look at just under 94%, you know, we had some very, you know, good news beginning of the year. There's been a lot of sickness as it's gone by, you know, since Christmas that is driving the number down, and you know, I hopefully we still hit the number that we're projecting, because as you know, each percent difference in ADA percentage is about $400,000 funding. So the unduplicated pupil count is rising. You know, that's the number shown there is a 3-year average, projected 3-year average, obviously for the out years, but by 26, 27, given our current trends, we'll hit the 55% mark, which will bring some more concentration funding to the district, which would be the first time. Any questions on that slide? All right, moving on. So what's changed? You know, we're constantly adjusting salaries and benefits to reflect actual projected costs. PERS rates are adjusted, increased in the out years. One of our biggest costs is our substitute teacher costs. We're trying to keep on track with that. Anytime we get local revenue, those budgets are adjusted as actual donations are received. And then contributions to special ed and maintenance and operations are adjusted closer to projected actual costs. So we're going to see a little increase in some of our special ed costs again. We're assuming the current projected Department of Finance COLA funding assumptions, even though we've heard again that's probably going to be less than what we're seeing. We have about an average 10-year average in health and welfare increases of about just under 4%. So even though the last couple of years have been higher than 4%, I'm still gonna cross my fingers on the 4% increase in health and welfare costs. And then, just like you saw on the last slide, our projected average daily attendances, percentages and actual numbers are in there for you. So, one little change I made in the presentation is to show on that big report packet that you guys get from me where I'm getting some of this information for the slides. So you want to reference back to where the actual report is. That's what the page number is referencing on the top of the slide here. But this is our local control funding formula calculator that with the new ADA ADA numbers that we plugged into the formula, spits out a $76.2 million revenue from local control funding formula, which is a little bit higher. I'll get to that in a second. Oh, right here. I'll get to it. So what am I doing? Sorry, I'll get to that. So our total revenues on the unrestricted side, you see that $76.2 million in local control funding formula at the top. About $82 million is unrestricted dollars, and then a combined revenue for both unrestricted and restricted is about $102 million. We're spending $110 million, and a lot of that is planned. I'll get to that in a second. At first interim, we were projecting a $1.9 million deficit for this year. And you could see up and down this spreadsheet that, you know, there's pluses and minuses. There's about a $300,000 difference in revenue from the ADA, like I said, local control funding formula, the transportation reimbursement and lottery adjustment, just under 300,000. And we had to adjust E-rate and teacher induction revenue down 85,000. So the big the big change to the ending fund balance or the deficit is we actually paid for the vans that we bought or ordered 2 years ago and received just a few months ago. So that's 550. I think I mentioned that in our last meeting, but it actually happened now. So our deficit looks a little bigger because of it. But when you take that away, it's about where we were before, 1.9 million, right? 400,000 of the revenue that we just received is now going to increase special ed costs. So we're at about $18.5 million that we're transferring from the unrestricted general fund to the restricted general fund for special ed. About $2 million for routine restricted maintenance, and then you see the vans. That's a one-time cost of $550,000. Okay, so we're, like I said, in this year we're deficit spending $2.5 million in unrestricted, and in the unrestricted budget, $4.4 million in the restricted budget, and that is mostly the one-time funds that we received over the last 2-3 years. We're spending that down. We have enough money there to fund many of the things that was funding next year, and then it'll drop off unless it's replaced with more categorical money that Trustee Wing was talking about. And so our multi-year projection for the unrestricted budget, $2.5 million this year. Because of the lower COLA, the loss in revenue compounds to the next 2 years. We were showing a little bit of a surplus in 25-26, which is now the deficit. And then we were showing a little bigger surplus in 26-27, which is, all of these, when you get less revenue in 1 year, it just compounds that from the formula in the out years. So we're not seeing as big of a surplus in 26-27. But we're maintaining, as of right now, we're maintaining our 3% reserve with a little buffer, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, again, multi-year projections are going to change as the underlying assumptions change, and this is built on what the most current information is. So we're good on cash flow. We did have a negative cash in 1 month this year, which was December, and our property taxes came in. So again, when you have larger reserves, means you have larger cash balances, and that carries you through the year. And always my areas of financial concern, again, enrollment in ADA trends. Trustee Brown's always talking about that because he's seen our history and when enrollment decreased, and thankfully we're not there, and I don't think we're going to be there for a few years. But ADA is really what we need to focus on. Getting the kids in school, and for many reasons, not just funding. Future impacts of STRS, PERS, and COLA. I talk about that all the time. COLA is a big driver in our revenue. Just the increased cost of doing business. I mean, everything is increasing that we have to deal with. All in all, again, I'm glad to report that we can pay all our bills in the next 2 years based on this information. I'm suggesting that that you certify us positive for this report, and I'm glad it's not the other way. Any questions?
I've got two. Would you remind me, 1% change in ADA equals 800,000, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And then for the vans, they were ordered 2 years ago. but we're showing that as a deficit this year. So
We
that wasn't,
paid the bill this year because we actually received them. I mean, yeah, we did order them a long time ago, and they came in earlier this year.
okay, I was just thinking maybe that money was set aside 2 years ago.
Yeah, in our reserve, that's where it was set aside. That was the only place we could pay for it, yeah.
Got it, okay.
I have a question. At the boot camp, the presenter was saying that we are mandated, for our IEPs, we're mandated, but the feds only pay us a fraction of what they're supposed to be paying us. How can we turn that around?
I asked that question. I think about that all the time, like, it's a long shot that this money will be taken away, but what if we didn't get it? Would we have to follow the same rules? That's ultimately your question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they're funding less than 20% of our program, so I think the answer is that we still have to do it, and that's what's best for the kid.
Ridiculous.
The MYP shows that it's going to go up in 25, 26, and 26, 27, so.
What's that, the contribution?
The transfer to RRMA and special ed.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's, that's just like so deficient in planning and not planning, but what we get, that so much has to
Yeah.
be taken from the general fund and go
I mean,
to.
that's, we have some, next year especially, we have some increased positions and costs for the program that we're running for our special ed program, which, we're spreading out some of our SDC classes, for example, but we have more kids, and with more kids comes more supports, especially for the kids that need them.
And I
that's
kind of
what's
thought
right.
of something, what if, because some of our IEPs are English learners, can't we use some of the funds for English learners for our IEPs?
I mean, ultimately.
Double
ultimately
dip
we
kind
are-
of a
yeah,
deal?
Yeah,
No?
depends on what money you're talking about, but ultimately,
But it's not gonna change the bottom line. Like
Yeah.
whatever bucket it comes out
Yeah,
at
agreed.
the end of the day, it's still
We
costing
have more
us.
money for the English learners though, right? We don't have enough for IEPs.
But it doesn't matter, like if we took, I don't think you can do what you're doing, but even if you did, if we used English language learner money instead of IEP money, we're still, at the end of the day, like, our restricted and unrestricted go into, and I'm gonna super simplify this, John, so
Do it.
sorry, go into a bucket,
Mm-hmm.
whether it comes out of the English language learner or the IEP, we're still paying for it, so it doesn't
We
save
wouldn't
us.
get an increase then, what
No.
you're saying?
No, we're not gonna save us any money, it's
so
just coming out of a
moving
different
buckets.
line item on John's
Okay.
Excel spreadsheet.
Okay, well, there goes my balloon.
So, I mean, this is just another topic for your political thing, is they don't fund based upon the needs of the school district.
No.
They fund on a formula,
Mhm.
and then you have to figure out, how to balance that out.
Agreed.
John, I have one question, because I have gotten myself all confused here.
Sure.
When we were at the SCO presentation, they gave a slide about the ending fund balance by district size, just going back from 2018 to 2023.
Yeah, that's the reserve
But
percentage.
the
of-
ending fund balance is different than AB 1200, the reserve percentage, right?
The reserve, no, it's not, actually.
No, you're
Ending
drastically
fund balance, two ways to look at it. The ending fund balance for the unrestricted budget is what counts as the reserve, is the only thing that can count as the reserve.
Okay.
So we'll always have an ending fund balance in the restricted side for programs that, like we received a bunch of money several years ago that we're spending down now. But, yeah, but I missed your question?
Well, you did, but then I get concerned. I mean, I know that legally we have to have 3 for our
Yeah.
district size. The board in previous years has said we would like 4.
Yeah.
But just looking at this, and this is by state, but they don't have it by school district, they have it by state and then just Sonoma County. They're telling us that the average is 18.23%.
I've had that slide on,
Right.
I've presented
Yeah.
that slide. It's,
And,
yeah.
and their logic, and it makes sense, he had so many of like why these rules are the way they are, and basically it's because school districts did bad things and now we're having to deal with it. But it hopefully won't happen, but when we had the big crash and literally schools had $0, he kept using the term bankrupt, and then he's like, they didn't go bankrupt, they went insolvent, but we're gonna use the word bankrupt, you know, people can look at this fund balance and go, you're holding 18% of money, but if all of a sudden we don't have money because the state just says, sorry, I don't have any money, we have 18% of our fund balance to continue paying our staff and our teachers and keep the lights on.
3% reserve only covers maybe a month's worth of payroll.
Yeah, so the thing about 18%, or, I mean, some of these districts have 21.35%
Yeah.
that are in our thing, is you don't have, it gives you time to plan for not having money versus just, oh my God, we have no money, we are laying 200 people off
So
tomorrow.
who are they saying has 18%?
Well, this is so on average, the state of California, in districts that are 5,001 to 10,000, in the 22-23 school year had 21.35%. The Sonoma County average for 22-23 was 18.23%.
And part of that is a lot of the one-time money that's there. I
Yeah.
think if you look back historically, you
No,
have never
again,
seen.
the reserve
No,
level.
18 to 19 was 15.69, 19 to 20 was 17.84.
And the reserve, that ending fund balance is what we're talking about.
We've never been
You
that
can't,
high. I
you
mean,
can't-
we've
you're
been
not
bouncing
counting the
around
restricted
3%
balance.
the
We
whole time.
got up to, I think, 10% at one point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, remember, our
40%?
districts,
Yeah.
one of the, oh God, this is gonna be on public and don't hate me, world. One of the challenges that I found on SCO was, in Sonoma County, we have 40 districts that are extremely different from each other. So we have one district schools and their reserves may be higher or lower. And then we have districts with us that have 6,000 students, or Santa Rosa that has way more than that. And so there's pluses and minuses, you know, the one district schools were saying, hey, when stuff changes, you know, they don't have the economies of scale that we have, you know, but on the flip side, they, you know, their 10% is way different than our 10%.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's challenging.
Yeah, and the only way, you don't set out to not spend the money that you receive. The only
Right.
way that you increase your reserve level is if money falls out at the end, like you project, I'm projecting a $2.5 million deficit. I'm hoping that we don't spend every penny that we're intending to spend and that it's less than that at the end of the day. But then you get criticized for sure, if that number is $1 million, oh, well, you're hiding $1 million. You didn't spend $1 million that you said you were gonna spend.
Yeah.
You're hiding money. That's just not the case, If every department or every school spent 1% less money than they were given, I mean, there's your $1 million, but that's the only way you increase your reserve is by, because you don't set out to save money. You don't set out to save or spend less money than you receive. You want to spend the dollars wisely, but.
But it was
you know,
interesting, because all the different
yeah.
districts were kind of talking about what their reserves were, and that was because our districts are so disproportionate in Sonoma County, it's kind of like, well,
But that's a statewide average. That's not just a.
well, Sonoma County was 18.23, state
Yeah.
was 21.35.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
But 18.23 is still way more. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was comparing
Yeah,
apples to apples.
yeah.
I was
and
talking
again,
myself out of
even
it.
18% only covers 6 months worth of, 6 months worth of payroll. That's not years and years of.
You divide 12 into 100%, you're running, what, 8% a month, roughly? That's 2 months worth of, it's like you ran out of your paycheck and I got 2 more house payments before
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
evicted.
Any other questions?
So Don, I know I asked this at the budget meeting, and if you don't know the answer right now, it's okay,
Yeah.
but, so we are deficit spending, I guess we're not in 26, 27 anymore, right? You don't have it up anymore, but, so my question may not actually make sense.
Assuming our revenues come up like they should be.
Right.
And staffing levels remain the same.
So we, at one point, it looked like in year 4, year 5, we would go into a qualified instead of positive. But right now, it actually kind of looks like,
That's
We're-
assuming all the assumptions come true.
right,
Things
Yeah,
are
it's
very
only,
volatile.
it's only
right?
as good as the
I'll show you.
underlying assumptions, is what I always like to say.
And then, I know in years past,
Informational change.
you would put a line in there for projected increases, but that's not in here this time. It's just a step and column, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was always below the line. I think,
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
we're in a good pace to potentially do something really good with a salary adjustment for the future, and I don't want to get into it, but
Right.
I'm really hopeful that we can agree on all that.
Great.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve item 12B, second interim reports as of January 30th, 2025?
I make a motion to approve 12B.
May I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up, ratification of the 2025 Service Employees International Union, SEIU, and for that, it'll be Superintendent Etudy.
Hi. So these, the next two items are our MOUs with our staff for our summer school staffing. We make agreements with our staff about who will be hired and what the positions are and what the rate is, and these two MOUs reflect that.
Any questions?
Just double checking, we offer summer school positions to CRP USD employees first, right? Thank you.
Behind the podium. Okay, may I have a motion to approve item 12C, ratification of the 2025 Service Employees International Union MOU?
I move.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. May I have a motion to approve item 12D, public disclosure and ratification of the 2025 RPCEA extended school year?
I'll make a motion to approve 12D.
And may I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Next up, 12E, ratification of the 2024 and 2025 El Camino High School MOU.
Yes, we've been having conversations about what our alternative ed program should look like, and we wanted to have some agreements with the staff because they hadn't really had one where their schedule was solidified and the number of students. And this is a one-year MOU as we continue to reimagine what that program could and should look like. But we're asking for approval of this one-year MOU.
Any questions?
It's for this current school year, right?
It is.
Okay, if no other questions, may I have a motion to approve item 12E, ratification of the 2024 and 2025 El Camino High School MOU?
I'll make a motion to approve 12E.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next up, vote for representation to CSBA Delegate Assembly.
Yes, so every year you select a delegate for the CSBA. That's much of the work that Michelle's been doing this week is generated and facilitated through CSBA. The person running for the position is Shelby Moeller, and this is a vote for that candidate.
Which is interesting because when she said it on the call today,
She's from Rankin Valley, right?
she on the call today said that she is it, or maybe because she's running unopposed. Anyway, she was great. Well, so she was on the CSBA call today, and she said, I am the delegate assembly for our district for the next 2 years. But I'm wondering if it's because she's running unopposed. Yeah, so. She was quite lovely on the call today.
Any other conversation? Then may I have a motion to approve vote for Shelby Moeller for representative to CSBA?
I move.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next up, 12G, approval of resolution 2025-22, acknowledgement 5 certifications required to submit modernization funding application to the Office of Public School Construction. John Bartolome.
I got it. I don't remember how many months ago it was. It was at the beginning of the year, we received a presentation from King Consulting, who talked about money that we are eligible to claim on projects that we had already done. We were in the queue, and so this is a resolution to allow us to move forward to access funding, to apply to access the funding for several projects that were already completed, and this is like a reimbursement, for lack of a better word.
Any questions?
Is that like $2 million or something?
It was 21 million.
20 million? Oh,
In total, I think was what we were eligible for.
Right.
Yeah.
20 million, right. Forgot a zero there.
We like adding zeros.
We'd like, we could get the
Well-
other zero on there.
There you go. In one side of the equation. Okay, may I have a motion to approve item 12G?
I'll move that we approve 12G.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing,
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Aye. Okay, next up, item 12H, approval of resolution 2025-23, naming district representatives and authorizing the district's participation in SAB administered programs.
So we had to change the name on authorizing, our authorizing person. It was the former CBO and
3 CBOs ago.
3 CBOs ago. Okay, we haven't changed it for a while. Ann Barons, I believe her name was. So we'd like to change it to John Bartolome.
Great. Any question on that? May I have approval or a motion to approve item 12H?
I move.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing,
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Aye. Okay, the next few items, 12I to 12O, are first readings. Any questions, conversation about that? Okay. Then we will hit item 12P, second reading of board policy. May I have a motion to approve board policy and administrative regulation 0460, local control and accountability plan.
I'll make a motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 12Q, may I have a motion to approve item 12Q, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 3100.
All motion that we approve 12Q.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that was Q. So I motion to approve item 12R, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 3280, sale of lease of district-owned real property. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 12S, I motion to approve item 12S, Board Policy 3320, claims and actions against the district. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And I motion to approve item 12T, deletion of Administrative Regulation 3320, claims and actions against the district.
I'll second.
Thank you for answering the question
Oh, yes.
before I ask. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I motion to approve item 12U, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 3151.5, sex offender notification. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I motion to approve item 12V, reading of Board Policy 3540, transportation. May I have a second?
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 12W, I motion to approve item 12W, Board Policy 6170.1, transitional kindergarten. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I motion to approve item 12X, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 6174, Education for English Learners. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And may I have, oh no, I'm sorry, 12Y, Acceptance of Gifts and Donations to Schools and Districts.
Yes, the Rancho Cotati Boosters have donated $15,000 to the athletic program at Rancho Cotati High School, and we thank them very much.
Okay, any questions? And I'll motion to approve 12Y, Acceptance of Gifts and Donations. May I have a second?
I approve, I move, I second.
Thank you.
Good Lord, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all
Wait,
very
I
much.
have a future business agenda.
Oh,
item, sorry.
right, thank you.
So if we do, I think we have to do it this way. So I would like us to write a letter to each of the senators that I'm meeting with this week and have it on behalf of our board instead of just Michelle Wing. So I think in order to do something as behalf of the board, we're gonna need it on the next agenda item. So if the board's okay with it, I would write a letter, and kind of put what, and then we can talk about it at the next board meeting of, do we wanna add things to it or delete it? And then we can send it on behalf of the board of CRPUSD.
Sounds good.
Everyone
I like
okay
that.
talking about it at the next meeting?
Our meeting isn't until, we have quite a bit of time between,
Yes.
that's okay?
That's fine.
All right.
I'll probably send an email to everyone we meet this week, just thanking them for their time and reminding them, but I think it would be more powerful if it came from the entire board.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other future agenda items? Okay, then with that, we are adjourned.
No,
All right.